Well, many blessings to you. Our love, light, and peace. I am so happy to be here with my complementary energy partner, Robert Cochise. And it's been about a month since I've uploaded a video. The last one, I shared that I was in travels to New York. And boy, oh boy, we have so much to report since then. I.e. the title of this video, Complementary Energies in the New Paradigm. Hey baby, how are you?
Excellent.
I'm so happy that you are with me and the viewers in this video. And I have to tell you, we actually recorded this last night. And, Bobby and I were talking about the importance that we mutually felt about sharing the last month of this journey, not because we want to come and share our journey per se, but because there is such an important correlation to what is happening in this new paradigm, right? And humbly always feel like, the example of the share to see if, the sharing resonates with the viewers and hopefully to help you connect some dots, right? And so we sat here last night and we said so many beautiful things, shared so much, right?
Technical problems.
Well, Bobby calls them technical problems. I call them a little bit perhaps of interference, All the videos were set. Everything was perfect. It seemed to be. And we sat down and we did a great show, great share. Just to find out that for whatever reason the video, the camera didn't record. And then I started to start my phone and the phone almost exploded. Erased almost everything. So it was almost like, I feel, a signal that the sharing was important and sort of a little bit of a glitch with interference. So here we are again.
Yes.
And we know we're not going to capture what we captured yesterday, but we hold the intention that it's going to be even better, right?
Yes.
And that this video will go up.
Hey, we're just winging it, so.
And so, we know that we're in this new paradigm. There's never a right or wrong to, the sharing. There's so many beautiful teachers out there who are being so instrumental in just helping, right? Humanity and connecting dots. I call it connecting dots. And about a month ago, I was going out to New York to do some lectures and teach some classes and do some mission work. And little did I know, when we know, that we were being staged and set to undergo an incredible purification process of completion, which I believe is something that we're all going to be called to do in order to step into the new paradigm.
Yes.
Right?
Wasn't that easy?
Definitely not easy, and we're going to share some of the details of that, just so that you can, again, get a resonance to see if there's some resonation, just because we feel that in some way, shape, or form, many, if not all, are going to sort of undergo something similar, But before we go there, I just want to take a moment to share, the new paradigm is not necessarily a tangible physical place, like saying that we're going to go to the Giza or the Taj Mahal, like a physical place per se. Even though the paradox is that it does show up in our physical reality.
Yes.
But the new paradigm is a state of consciousness. It's a frequency. And so we have to energetically place ourselves and be at that state, at that place of consciousness in order to actually have the experience, right?
I totally agree. I feel everything is going to start with our intention and our heart. And that's the beginning. Looking within to work on ourselves. to
Right.
really come to this
Yes.
point,
Yes.
to open it up.
Absolutely. And why that's important to know is because we've heard it all from the teachers, the gurus, that our emotional well-being, the ability to clean up house, clean up outside of the street, being emotionally and spiritually healthy are like important overall, but now even more important in order to be able to tap into the new energies of the paradigm, of the new paradigm, of the new world. And that's so important to know because this new world was created out of a frequency to elevate us. And so it has its protocols, its principles, and it's not going to allow us to bring old debris, our garbage, right, into the new paradigm, because if that were the case, then we cannot call it a new paradigm. It's just a replication of what existed, And so they're not going to cut us any slack in needing to raise our vibration and to do the work that we need to do in order to be able to step in to that new state of consciousness. And that's what Bobby and I are sort of here to share, because we experienced that firsthand over the last month.
Everything starts, how it starts for me, it all starts within. You have to really take a look within yourself. And you really have to, like you're saying, clean up the debris, leave baggage at the door. So this way, you leave all the emotional baggage, that pain that you feel within yourself, and let it go. Learn how to forgive yourself, others, and really you have to really have a realization of what you're feeling, and you have to come to terms with it. You have to face it, and you have to accept it. And I think that's one of the things that that blocks us, because everything is out of fear. That we block things that we're scared of. Could be almost anything, but expression. That's one of the big things for me. It was expression, to express oneself, because keeping all that emotional baggage within you just builds up, and it doesn't allow you to live your life with an open heart. And if you don't live your life with an open heart, then there's no room for love to come in. And it's hard sometimes because we're so conditioned with from our parents, our friends, our society, of the way we should look at things. And really it's not the truth. The truth is from within.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because coming into this new paradigm, at least the insight that I've received, and I wrote about it in some of my books some years ago, about this field called the complementary energies, which is why I introduced Bobby as my complementary partner. And I want to take a step back from that to say, about a decade or so, the twin flame field was a hot topic. Everybody was searching for their twin flame, and it's really important to establish, to illustrate that the twin flame field definitely had an incredible contribution to the ushering of the new paradigm. And how it did was that the twin flame field was a polarity, the opposite polarity actually of what the complementary field is, which is there was a diamond in the rough aspect and a higher aspect in the twin flame fields. And there was this incredible intensity in the dynamic of these relationships, but there was also this incredible push and pull,
Yes.
A tug of war, which any of the viewers who have identified themselves as twin flames know exactly what I'm talking about, which created a lot of intensity, but also created a lot of turmoil, a lot of emotional trauma,
Yeah, I feel the twin flame it has its purpose. It had its purpose, where it gave you room to grow.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Because you actually you learn new things about yourself, and I think relationships are the perfect way to learn.
They are. Every relationship, not just partner relationships, but every relationship,
Yes.
co-workers, friends, siblings, parents, every relationship is a great opportunity to grow and project
expand,
and or reflect, depending on where we're coming from, and growing, even if it's through growing pains, which is most of the time the case.
Yeah, no, I believe
Right?
pain is a big part in the growing process.
Yeah.
To learn more about yourself and to have a realization, like, how we feel during certain times, how we reacted to things, and taking a look inside and saying, why did I feel like that?
Right.
Why did I feel like that? And why did I react like that? And you really have to take a good look within your side of self-discovery and self-realizations of what happened in your life, what affected you, what you did, and a lot of things. Some of these realizations actually came up when I was reading your book.
Right. And so I mentioned a couple of books, and I just want to, take a step from there before we talk about the books. And some years ago, I was doing a reading on with a great friend, and I was just doing my thing, and all of a sudden I turned the car over, and it was the number 22, and like in a lot of the readings that I do, I'm sort of taken out of my body, and stepped into a portal where all of a sudden I start receiving insight. And at the time I was told that this number 22 really represented the second wave of ascension. I had no idea what that meant at the time. But what I was also told was that within this second wave, that there was going to be a field that was going to represent complementary energies, and sort of take over, like the passing of the baton from the twin flames to now this complementary energy field. And the reason why the council said that this was important was because the twin flames who were successful in coming through, the end of the portal in 2012, preparing now for the new paradigm, who were successful in coming in harmony, of course, still exist and are still now not only twin flames, but vibrating also from a complementary energy field, and doing the divine work. Wonderful. However, those who were not successful, we still have to have great reverence for what it represented, because, in the tug of war that was going on between the twin flames, each one of those flames represented humanity. And where there's one higher aspect trying to, raise the consciousness of humanity through their own illumination, the lower aspect was representing the little ones who, out of fear, out of resistance, out of conditioning, out of just not being ready, were resisting raising their vibration, their consciousness, and awakening. So it's important to give that field its honor. But what the council said, now coming into the second wave of ascension, is wonderful. We congratulate the twin flames, but now we need this field that is going to help accelerate the new foundation of this new world. And we can't afford the tug of war. We cannot afford the push and pull. And again, this is just reiterating that the new paradigm has new principles.
Yes.
We cannot continue to practice the old way in the new world. There's new principles. There's a new way of being, of consciousness. And so the complementary energy field and the partners and the relationships as a whole that are in this field help accelerate the creation of the foundation, because we're not fighting.
No.
We're not competing with each other.
Yes.
We're not pointing the finger. We're not blaming. And not that we're perfect, but we've also taken the time to heal.
Yes, we take time to heal, but also with the new complementary energies, there's so much more to that. Like you're saying, like there's no push and pull. Because in the new complementary energies, you have like respect for each other.
Absolutely.
Now, respect, I believe, is like one of the number one important thing, to respect one another and to love openly, and not be afraid of expressing yourself. Because when you don't express yourself, that's when we all run into that problem. We run into that problem where it's going to be that push and pull. We're gonna fight, or we're gonna disagree and everything. And believe me, you're never not going to disagree, but you have to be open and loving to actually respect the other person in their opinions or what they feel, because it's important. Because would you want the same thing? If you want respect, you have to give it. And when both people are vibrating on the same level and they respect and love each other, then it seems like so effortless when you grow.
Absolutely. And it's such a gift to be able to experience that when there's such a high level, like where the main ingredients are not necessarily lust or passion or conquest, but more so integrity,
yes.
Respect, communication, and just a passion for the ability to be able to share in the similarities of spirituality, of growth, of creativity, of purpose, of the mission. Like Bobby and I spend hours talking about our shared missions, how we're going to go about it.
You know what? I think all that began because we were never intimate or in this relationship like this. We started out as friends. And what'd you say, 4 to 5 years or something like
yes.
that? 4 to 5 years, we were just friends. And yeah, we weren't ready to jump into that next phase of the relationship. So we stayed friends, and I believe it built like such a huge foundation, a strong foundation, which actually let us build respect for each other and love for each other. Because when you just come into a relationship, like a lot of people do, as soon as they meet the person, they just want to get intimate, and they don't have anything, they don't have a base.
Right, a base.
And when all that fizzles out, where is it? There's no foundation. And there's no foundation. If there's no foundation, how could you build?
Right, yeah. We spend a lot of time laughing. We laugh a lot. But it wasn't always that way. Bobby says 4 or 5 years, and that's important to share. And again, we're sort of sharing a little bit of our personal journey, because we really feel that this is almost like a prelude that many are going to experience. And again, it's not just partnership relationships.
Yes.
It could be, like siblings, or, like any other kind of interaction. And what we've learned is the most important thing was that we had to put closure. That in order to fully step in to the degree that we have into the new paradigm, is that we had to go on this excruciating journey of putting closure to many contracts that we had, primarily with past relationships. And that was excruciating. And we basically felt that we had no choice, right?
Yes. It was painful.
It was very painful. I was out in New York, and my twin flame, who I spent 15 years with, is out there, and I felt that I was going to go out to just I didn't know what I was going out for. And, Bobby was very instrumental in actually helping me fulfill this, because on the onset of, the beginning of this journey, I was like, I don't need to go to New York. I'm not sure what you're talking about. And Bobby was the one who said to me, you need to go out to New York. You need to put closure to certain things. I need the space to basically do the same with certain aspects of his life.
Yes.
And I wasn't happy when he said that to me. I was like, what's wrong with you? We have this amazing relationship, and we already knew we were complementary energy partnerships. So it's like, what's your problem? Why are you sending me out?
It was actually too perfect and everything like that, because actually we were kind of like leaning on each other. And I for myself, yes, because I was actually head over heels, and I was kind of like building my world around you. And and this goes to a lot of people whenever they, when they build their world around something or someone, when that thing is taken away from them, their whole world collapses. So I feel that you have to have a strong foundation within yourself, and that comes out of self-love, and having respect for yourself, love for yourself. And so this way you don't have to like lean on somebody or build your world around something, because you'll always be strong in your foundation. And this way you can actually express yourself to the person, authentically. And where you can actually give more love to your partner, or to the people you interact with. Because a lot of our reactions to certain people, things, and everything, that comes from within. And it's not what's going on, but what's going on in here.
Absolutely. And those old paradigm relationships it was a perfect playground to blame others.
Yes.
To blame others, to spew on others, and to not look at ourselves and recognize that this harmony was coming from a lack of self-love.
Yes.
And being able to bring that wholeness into and you know what? For a good part of that was in divine orchestration.
Yes.
Because it was part of how we needed to grow, or the opportunity to grow and heal. The thing is that for many in the collective of the old paradigm, it became the norm.
Yes.
It became like the garb that we started to wear of, I'm going to blame you. You don't make me happy, and life doesn't make me happy, and nothing makes me happy, and right?
But you know what? I think that comes out of conditioning.
Well, of course,
how we were brought up, from the teachings of our parents, our friends, society. Everywhere you look. I mean, movies. I mean, a lot of things on the outside have an effect on us, and what we portray, what is perfect, and what we need to be like. Instead of like being yourself and letting yourself show yourself, your heart, and to express yourself with no fear.
Absolutely, babe. But this is it. Part of the new paradigm is that we can't use those excuses as crutches anymore.
Yes.
That part of the ascension process is to be able to clean up and heal from all of those conditioning, projections. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether it was conditioning, if it was our parents, if it was society or religion. It doesn't really matter. What matters is that all of that was part of the foundation to challenge us, to make us feel less than. And now, as we were entering into the new paradigm, the biggest invitation was to heal, reconcile, and put closure to all of that, so that we could be new in the newness, be able to enter in the newness into the new paradigm. Like I said, there are strict protocols, and the biggest is, no, you cannot come in with your old debris, with your old baggage. You just can't, because we can't. We're not going to be in a new paradigm then.
Yeah, how do you bring up,
And there's no shortcuts or escape from that one. You know what I mean? Because the field is the field. It reads energy, and so how it's going to gauge whether we have the experience of the reality of the new energies is measured by how much we've allowed ourselves to do that work and to be able to close those doors, so that now we can cultivate new seeds, new experiences in the new paradigm. So it wasn't always like this for us. Even when we did meet, Bobby says, we were friends, and that has its own challenges. Overall, we feel that it just wasn't in divine order, and we know that looking back. But we want to share that as well, because I know that for myself, I've worked with so many people over the years, and this is an area when it comes to partnerships where people feel like, it's not real. It's a fairy tale. You were mentioning yesterday, that you didn't believe in fairy tales.
Yeah, what I was saying yesterday is just like, I never really believed that, the love that, what you see in fairy tales was real. I didn't believe that for a long time. It was a myth, because of things in the past and seeing friends and family around me, and I just thought it was like, a happy ending to a movie, which I never experienced. And, it's, and now living that fairy tale, if you want to call it, being with an open heart, you actually can experience that, living a heaven on earth, where you're free. You're free of a lot of emotions and past experiences, and when you heal yourself, and just to be open to, be open in life, and to other people and your partner, to live life like that, and live life with an open heart, to be authentic with yourself, because I think that's important, not only for our growth, but for our expression and for our happiness, actually. That's what it comes down to. And when we can be ourselves, the best version of ourselves, which I believe is beautiful, because in the complementary energies, it's actually what you're saying. It's not a push and pull or anything anymore. It's actually, you're building each other up, and you're supporting each other, and you're allowing the other person to be the best that they can be.
The best version.
Yes,
right.
The best version of ourselves. Where, in the past, something would always, hold you back, but yet in the new complementary energies, you're actually supporting each other, and you're actually you're open more, because you're allowed to grow. You feel the freedom to grow, and there's no obstacle. And
that's perfect, because going back for a moment to the twin flame and recognizing the composite of that, the lower aspect and the high aspect, it was natural to have this resistance, to have that tug of war, that constant battle. And it was a struggle, really a struggle to just stay afloat, And now in this new complementary energy field, because of the healing, because we can't, as much as we can talk about the complementary energy fields, and that's what's being set up to hold the foundation, we still sort of have to qualify ourselves. Yes. And that's the part that was talking about, like, we know, you have to sort of qualify yourselves to be part of that. You're just not born into it like the twin flames who came here, with that embedded in their soul. This you sort of have to work at, to qualify. And then, of course, did we make an agreement? Absolutely. Bobby and I fully recognize that we have spent many lifetimes together. And actually, I feel, and I think you will agree, that it was the build-up, the continuum of those past lives that just naturally, it was like, of course,
yes,
we're going to, be this complementary energy partnership in this new paradigm,
I feel like it was a natural connection where
Yeah.
it just, like, it was effortless. I mean, it was just, it was something I never felt. And it was,
Right. Of course, like I keep saying, it wasn't always easy. When I met Bobby, I used to call him Peekaboo, Mr. Peekaboo, because he would pop in and out, just enough to hold my interest.
She hated me.
She hated me. I didn't hate him. I just couldn't figure him out. I kept saying, like, what a great guy. And from the get-go, I always knew that I was shown when I met Bobby that he was an amazing masculine divine, and that what he needed to work on or needed to experience was to have his heart opened. And I said that to Bobby early on when we met, like, you need your heart open, you need your heart to be opened. And that would entail Bobby to do a lot of healing work, self-healing work, and a lot of reconcilement, And the part that I feel that I played in that was that I held his field while he did that work unconditionally. Just gave him unconditional love, never judged him, and just allowed him the space to do what he needed to do, The flip side of that is that my part in it was I've lived a life of a lot of sacrifice, trauma, of obligation, and lost in this timeline, in this lifetime, my freedom at a very young age, being violated, raped at 12, and, all that came with that. And throughout this whole life, I've sort of felt, that I've always had to sacrifice, and not really having the freedom, always feeling that I had to act out of obligation. So on the flip side, how Bobby helped me was that he has this incredible, he's so in touch with, which we're going to talk about as well, because it's part of this new paradigm, so in touch with the feminine aspect of his spirit, that he also helped me unconditionally, with gentleness, with no judgment, with so much love and honor and respect, that really fortified me to reclaim myself, and feel that the last step that I needed to do was to make choices out of freedom, and out of my own empowerment without a feeling obligation, or that I needed to sacrifice something, And when we first met, we sort of was still kind of working into getting into those stages of finally being able to work on our individual issues, so we kind of played a little peekaboo
Yes.
until it was ready. But I shared yesterday, and I feel like I want to share again, because again, the synchronicity of all of this. We definitely cannot deny that there was divine orchestration. So 9 months ago, certain events brought an abrupt ending to my twin flame relationship, and I was devastated. But I knew that I had to move forward, so I quickly shifted into, filing for separation and looking for a place to live, and I was headed out to Pennsylvania. In the meantime, Bobby which we had not been in contact for almost a year,
Yes.
was also putting, the final touches on his aspect of his life, and was getting ready to come out to move to Florida. And we had not been in touch. We're individually going through these, closures in our lives. And suddenly one day, out of nowhere, Bobby calls me
Come on down.
and tells me that he's coming out to Florida, and he says, come with me, And when he says I hate him, it was not like, no, it was like, what the hell does this guy think he is? Like calling me after a year incognito and just telling me, come with me,
I was a jerk.
No.
A little bit of a
No,
jerk.
I don't think so. And what we're sharing is the synchronicity of it all, And so at the time I was like, whatever, whatever. But what starts to happen like immediately is he tells me he's leaving, he's driving out to Florida. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever, good luck. And I think the very next day I start getting texts from a realtor, on my phone, telling me that he's ready to show me properties in Florida while I was looking in Pennsylvania. And I was like, what? And I couldn't go anywhere else with that. I assumed that Bobby must have given my phone number to some realtor, right? Because he was coming out to Florida. So I called him and I called him out, right?
Yeah, it was like, what the hell are you talking about?
I was like, are you giving my phone number to people? And he was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm driving out to Florida. I don't have any, I don't know what you're talking about. And so I started to see that the universe was talking to me, about listen, pay attention to this guy, So anyway, I got a couple of those messages, but the clinch for me was I was driving to my office, had the radio on. It was a 5-minute drive. Put the radio on, and the DJ is announcing some kind of contest winner. Of course, my name is Rare. It's Blanca, and who is the winner of this contest but Blanca from Florida? And it was at that point where I realized I have to listen to this guy. I have to go out there and just kind of go. Of course, with this whole complementary energy, it's not just about the relationship. There's so much more to it. And what I discovered when I came out on my first visit back in October was that there was so much more than just the initiation of the potential for us to develop a complementary energy partnership, but of course all the work that I discovered in coming here with Atlantis, and the incredible mission that we're undertaking as we speak of taking this to another level. We've been called to mission work to the Bahamas, where part of this portal exists, and to do some delicious work with Vega Casey. It's so much. Definitely going to write a book about this one once we get settled. because we've had so many synchronicities, and even on our trip here back from New York, because I left and then Bobby came to pick me up after going through a grueling 2 weeks of initiations, not really knowing if we were going to even be allowed to come back together.
Yes.
So much in the middle of, of all of this. But without a doubt, knowing that it's not just about a relationship, and that's important, It's the expectations. It's just thinking that a partner is, there to please us, or to make our dreams come true. It really isn't what it's about. But more so, or even to complete us, by the way, that's another big one, to make our dreams come true, to complete us.
I believe it just gave us room, and it gave us the freedom to follow our purpose in life. To follow our path. Yes. And speaking of which, Bobby has really exploded since the onset of this complementary energy. So proud of him. I've seen him evolve. He just finished writing, so you might want to take a peek, the little book of Psoriasis, which is his personal account of a healing process that he had to undertake even before we got to this place, But always wanting to write a book about it, and I've watched him do that. I have to give you credit because you gave the inspiration and support for writing, and I love you for that. Thank you so much.
You were very welcome, but you were ready. And what happens is that, aside from this new paradigm existence, whenever we heal, not only are we healing our soul and the pathway to the future, we're also really releasing our creativity, because the soul's fuel is creative energy, is the creative expression. And so, there's so many gifts that come along when we heal. It's not just healing and being able to have these new experiences, but the creative expression that's released, And Bobby's completed the shamanic apprenticeship, which I feel I've shared in previous videos, is such an incredible journey that not only allows us to connect with the Mother Earth, which is so important right now, but really sets us into an inner journey of self-direction.
Yes.
Right?
It's perfect, self-direction and looking within and to appreciate things around you, appreciate nature, to look for signs, and it's humbling because it's always there. And I just feel like, you can't get rid of nature.
Absolutely,
you can't
that's
get rid
perfect.
Of nature. It's always going to be there. You can have something physical, but and it'll be lost or destroyed or something. You can't destroy nature.
Right. It kind of reminds me of Ralph Smart. I always like to endorse him in the videos because I think he's such an incredible ascendant one that creates such a field for everybody. And he's always talking. He's in the heart of nature. And Bobby is right. We can look for a lot of excuses, this pandemic, all the bullshit that's going on around the world, and I don't mean bullshit like it's just a lot of shit, right? And say that we feel, that we're not being allowed to experience life, and to some degree we could say, okay, maybe that's true, but nature is always waiting for us. Nature is free,
Yes.
and is so full of prana and gifts for us of activations, of awareness, of realizations, of awakening. And so, if we have a desire to evolve, then nature is the place to do it. Everything that we need is waiting for us there. and we just need to have the commitment
Yes.
to step in. That's, of course,
I
the
believe
shaman's way.
Yeah, I believe that gives you a strong foundation
Yes.
for yourself, your spirituality, and it's a wonderful thing. It's something you know that they have to experience.
Right, right. And so Bobby was mentioning earlier some books that he read, and I'm not promoting here. I just wanna. I feel that these two books were such a validation, a prelude to where we are with this complementary energy field. So in 2014, I was inspired to write a book called Female Divine, Hurt No More. And at the time, I thought I was writing that book because of the countless of women that had sat in my office with the same theme, hurting in relationships, beaten, bruised, not only physically, emotionally, like broken. And it's a hardcore book, and it calls out the feminine divine about, like, why do we settle and stay in these relationships that hurt, So it's not a passive book about, like, oh, we're hurting, but more so, like, why are you allowing this?
But the thing is, reading Female Divine, it's not just for females.
Yeah.
It's for males also, because when I found myself reading the book, I can actually relate to it, and relate to some of the things where about fear, about what we're afraid of, what stops us, and the emotional, the physical, the mental, everything that I was actually resonating with, because it was actually an easy read for me, because I like easy reads, and it kind of like talks to you, because it feels like it comes on a personal level, and I felt it talking to me, and like I said, you don't have to be a female just to read this book.
I loved when he told me that, and I thought it was such a great, oh my God, like, share, because we're taught, we're conditioned to believe that we are the gender that we are born into. But the truth of the matter is that on a spiritual, on an energetic level, we are both feminine and masculine.
Yes.
And part of the imbalance of the old paradigm was that everything was primarily masculine, dominant, controlling, superior, right? And so when Bobby said to me that he had a lot of resonance to reading Female Divine, Hurt No More, I thought that was fabulous, not only because as a masculine gender, he was connecting to a book that was primarily written for the feminine aspect, but what I loved about it was that it was really highlighting that Bobby is so in touch with his feminine side, like that he has a balance between his masculine and feminine energy. And I just want to say, and I can attest to that, because I've never met a man who's so loving, so gentle, and so unconditionally affectionate than he is. And I'm blessed to receive all of that nurturing and nourishment from him every day, all day. And
No, I just wanted to say one thing. I mean, just because reading the Female Divine is for males and everything, the males believe it's okay. If I read it, I'm going to become a wimp. No, it's not like that. It's all about opening up your heart and actually having a love and respect for the other person, for anybody you're dealing with, where you're not being a wimp, or I'm not even I don't want to curse, but what it is you be more yielding, because when you're stiff and rigid, it breaks. If you're yielding to things, you actually go with it. You go with the flow. If you bend, you're not going to break because you're not rigid. And I think that's a perfect example. You know, a tree, if it has a stiff old branch, when the wind blows, it's going to break. If it's a new branch and it's yielding, it's healthy, it's just going to yield with the wind and it's going to go back into its original position. Now, being that said, being a male, it doesn't mean that, you have to like take a, step back and just be so passive and everything. No, you have to have a voice also. I mean, you don't be aggressive. You have to be, if you speak at being assertive. Being assertive, because this way you get your point across, and this way you express yourself, and you can openly express yourself, and this way you can have an open heart. And to express yourself assertively, it's not being nasty or anything like that. You're just trying to get your point across, and you're just trying to express yourself. Now, this doesn't have to do, it's not just for a man, a woman also. Mm-hmm. They have to be assertive in some times in their life and to express themselves, because if they don't express themselves, they're just going to hold all that in. Mm-hmm. So it's not just for the male, it's for the female also. Mm-hmm. So like I said, the female divine is not just for female, it's not just, it's not just for male, it's for both. Because it doesn't have to do with the gender, it has to do with oneself and how you feel inside, and you take that and resonate with that.
Right.
You would have to read it to really understand.
Well, the ironic part is that I wrote that book in 2014, and I actually thought, that I was writing it primarily for the feminine gender. And then a year later, I was inspired to write Male Divine, Hide No More, And I really think that these books were preludes to prepping everyone as a collective to what was to come now in this new paradigm. And what I mean by that is, regardless of the gender, the feminine aspect has to stop hurting. Yes. And settling, and sacrificing and raise, because again, the old paradigm has been a predominantly navigated by the masculine energies of dominance, control, superiority, And so now the female, the balance has to come in where the female can rise in her empowerment, regardless of your gender. Rise in your empowerment, in your declaration of freedom, and to be able to continue to be nurturing and nourishing, but empowered now. Not to feel that you have to be a mat, on the ground, or sacrificial in order to do that. While the masculine aspect has to stop hiding, and the hiding is from its vulnerability. Yes. From its vulnerability. And again, this is one of the things I love about watching Bobby hold the masculine feel, is that he's not afraid to be vulnerable. He's not afraid to be sensitive. He's not afraid to show his gentleness, and he also recognizes that in being vulnerable, it doesn't take away from his strength or from his masculinity to be, to be a provider or to be a leader, There's just a beautiful balance in those two aspects that I happen to benefit from greatly,
Just like my cooking.
I do, and that too, he allows himself to be very versatile, not to allow the labels. Oh, I'm gonna be, doing the lawn and hammering this, working on the ceiling, and you have to clean and cook. We're very versatile here. Yes. He loves to cook. I'm primarily, in the business, practice and, lectures and stuff. And he does really well in keeping us together, and really nurturing me, and does his work as well. So the point we're trying to bring here is the balance of both of those beautiful energies. And in writing these two books, I see the importance of what they were really preparing the readers, for me to put out the message that we would need to learn how to balance these two fields within ourselves in order to be fully ready to enter into the new paradigm. That it's not a battle. The battle is not about the partnerships and the push and pull of, twin flames or other relationships, nor does it should exist between our masculine and feminine sides within ourselves, right?
Yes.
But a beautiful balance of being able to feel empowered, assertive, strong, to be expressive, to have a voice, while at the same time allowing ourselves to be sensitive, to be vulnerable, loving, gentle.
I totally agree with you, because there's a balance between it. Because just like the yin and yang, if one exists, the other cannot exist without the other.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what completes it. It completes the circle. And they have both aspects, and that's what creates balance. When you have balance in your life, you have a good foundation, and once you have that, it's more easier to go through life.
Mm-hmm.
It feels easier, almost effortlessly, and to feel that, it's a wonderful feeling going through that, because you're not being rigid, you're not fighting against it, you're just going with the flow.
Mm-hmm.
And by going with the flow, it just seems to take you, and I'm sure you're going to do other videos on thoughts and everything like that. It's just, there's so much to learn.
There is, we could foresee definitely coming back and doing a couple of videos, but we really wanted to share not only our personal experience, but what we know is being set up for the new paradigm, and really excited to see this generation of complementary energies on many levels, to evolve and usher in, create the foundation for the new world. For us personally, we were so blessed as we were coming back from New York, back to our home here in Florida. We were so overwhelmed at how many people came to us, as we stopped in certain states, just to compliment us, talk about being complementary energies. Wow, like this, you guys are fantastic, you look like such a great couple, and we've been watching you, and you look so great together. And the greatest, we had a lot of people.
Yeah, it's kind of creepy. No, I'm kidding.
Creepy.
No, I'm kidding. Creepy.
He couldn't believe, right? I guess he couldn't believe how, because I always tell Bobby, it's what we emanate that speaks to people. We don't have to necessarily be doing anything. Although being of service, of course, is always wonderful, but it's what we're emanating, and it was clear to us that what we were emanating was speaking to people, because people would just randomly come up to us just to tell us. And that was like such a gift, because people don't have to, they didn't have to.
I don't think it's something that we were trying to show.
No.
It was just something that we were feeling, we were enjoying each other at the moment, and just that love that we have for each other. And it just kind of like overflows, and people actually feel that.
They do. And we were dancing one night. We had, like I said, certain instances of this, several. But the greatest one was we were at a little club, and we had these two young women come up to us and just tap us while we were dancing. The music is playing loud, and they just wanted to tell us, wow, we've been watching you guys, and you're fabulous together, and you look so wonderful, and we feel it, and it was like, oh my God. It was really special for them to take the time. And I think that that's really important, because when we think about being of service and emanating, right, it's so wonderful to know that you could be living in a blissful place, and just by virtue of living in a blissful, joyful place, you're making a contribution. You know, so it wasn't like we were trying, right? We were just merging and being ourselves with each other and experiencing. And that's another thing, the amount of serenity, of peace, of joy, of bliss, of happiness, of just contentment, and a flow that we feel together is sometimes really undescribable. Yes, babe, right?
Yes.
And we talk about that a lot. And we start our day and we end our day, and we repeat us to each other
Grateful.
how often, how grateful we are to be in each other's lives, how grateful we are for what we do for each other, for our conversations, for our communication, for our laughter,
Yeah.
Just everything. And I think that that's really important, because I am grateful to be experiencing this experience with you, baby.
I think gratitude is a big thing, and when you're grateful for things, you don't take things for granted.
Exactly. And that's another thing that we've learned, which is we went through a lot to get to this point. And it was excruciating, and it was very emotionally painful, and just growing the closure, the completion, and all the while not knowing if we were going to be allowed the grace to come back together. Like, we didn't know through the process if maybe somehow we were going to go in different directions, And so what we brought back from that is not only to be grateful, but to not take each other for granted, which happens so often in relationships where there's a dense, honeymoon stage, and like Bobby said earlier, once that fades, like there's no substance, We've made it a point, it came naturally actually, but to pay attention to, to be aware and to be there for each other, and to listen when one of us is being impacted or affected by something, like, hey, I'm here, to talk. It's just so many different beautiful dynamics that we share because of this, and definitely know that is part of the new complementary energy, right? And so I also wanted to share one thing, because I can't forget. So I'm a big advocate in my books and in the classes I teach about setting intentions, the manifestation of our affirmations, I know that a lot of the viewers, a lot of the people I work with are big advocates of the new moon, the full moon, and all that. And so I cannot help, because I have to share that I was sharing with Bobby that I was a big fan of doing affirmations, and that I manifested him. And so I have this little note that I kept in my little box. And this was done, I think, on a new moon back in July of 2019. And among the many things I wrote as an affirmation was, I see miracles unfolding, happiness, and a joyful partnership, a loving complementary relationship, union and freedom from anything or anyone who cannot vibrate. We meet in spirit and in harmony and love. And I manifested you. And he does meet all of those amazing criteria, among other things. I happen to be very picky when I asked for the manifestation. I wanted someone who had no baggage, and Bobby is definitely someone who brings no baggage, who brought no baggage into the relationship. I manifested him, is the bottom line. And I'm sure he manifested me. And so I want to encourage you guys, as you work on stepping into the new complementary energy field to heal, right? To put closure, but to also believe in the miracle of manifestation, especially in this time that we find ourselves in. Believe that you can truly manifest that divine partner that you're looking for, yes? And so we're very grateful that you've given us this time. We hope that our sharing helps you connect some sacred dots, helps you to prepare and to have a better understanding of, this new, beautiful new world that is being built. We look forward to coming back, and we love to hear any comments, your own personal share of what Bobby and I have shared. I'm going to put a lot of information on the details, on the description, how you can find Bobby on YouTube, the books that we spoke about, the apprenticeship and all that. And so very grateful to have had this time with you. I thank you, baby. I thank you so much for sharing with me in this video, and for being in my life, and for being this beautiful complementary energy in this beautiful new world. I love you. And of course, we leave you with our love, with our light, and with our peace until we connect again. Many blessings to you, and we love you, yes?
Peace, love, and blessings.